And welcome back to Klamath Falls Falcons baseball on 104.3 and 960 Sports and on MyBasin.com. Live from Anchorage, Alaska at the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. The Falcons have made it to the championship game to challenge the Madisonville Rangers from Madisonville, Kentucky. The second tournament the Falcons are playing in the title game for. The second time they meet the Rangers from Madisonville as the Falcons defeated the Madisonville Rangers 7-1 in the championship game of the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament. That was back on Wednesday. But since then, both teams have battled through group play and through a semifinal to face each other once more here in the Alaska 529 Mid-Season Classic. We'll talk about the tournaments that each of these two teams have played here in the last frontier, as well as the tournament that they've each had so far, as we step aside first for the national anthem on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
The cars we drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see two things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys and I want to see my high school. And those are the two memories that stick out the most to me.
As a parent of a high school athlete, I've given up trying to get pictures of my kid playing sports. It's nearly impossible to take pictures and enjoy the game. There is a solution, though. God's Gifts Photography attends high school sporting events in the Basin to take individual and team action photos at a great price. Search God's Gifts 2 on Facebook to learn more. They'll come and capture your athlete in action, creating those frameable lifelong memories so you can watch and just enjoy the moment. Call 541-281-2206 to get your athlete on their schedule. God's Gifts Photography.
Klamath Falls Falcons against the Madisonville Rangers for the third time in Alaska this week, this time for the championship of the Alaska 529 Mid-Season Classic. The Falcons 3-0-1 in tournament play for them. Victories over South Anchorage 14-2, victory against Chugiak 10-5, and a tie against Kenai 4-all. That was yesterday. For Madisonville, they're also 3-0-1 in the tournament. They opened up their tournament with the tie against West Anchorage on Thursday night. They tied up at 6, but then have since won twice. Once against Service, the team that the Falcons had to beat to get here. They defeated Service 8-4. And then last night at 7:30, Madisonville defeating Diamond 5-3. And earlier today, defeating Kenai 14-1 in their semifinal to find themselves once again playing the Klamath Falls Falcons. The first two times these two teams played was back in Wasilla, just about an hour up Highway 1 here in Alaska in the Mat-Su Valley, a game in which, well, Madisonville took the first one by a score of 16-4, but the Falcons would come back and win the nightcap that night and the Todd Ryan Memorial Championship game 7-1. Plenty to talk about between these two teams here in Alaska. Got to say, I think it's very neat that we're able to see this team for a third and final time and play something of a rubber match against the Madisonville Rangers. Want to welcome in some folks who I think might be tuning in from Madisonville who joined us back when we were in Wasilla earlier in the week. Thank you so much for choosing our broadcast, and welcome to Falcons Baseball on 104.3 and 960 Sports and back home or on MyBasin.com as well. The Madisonville Rangers will have to go up against Corbin Hamilton out there on the mound. But first, let's introduce you to their starting lineup. Leading off is their catcher, Connor Mitchison. Layden Bozarth is the shortstop. He bats second, followed by Xavier Martin, the right fielder, hitting third. Hayden Hudson is at first base. He bats fourth, followed by Jalen Groves, the left fielder, batting fifth. Then you've got Micah Austin, the second baseman, batting sixth. Easton Mefford hits seventh. He's in center field. Tate Noble is the designated hitter, batting eighth, and Aiden Rice is the third baseman. He bats ninth for Madisonville as we are ready to go. This will be the first time that Corbin Hamilton has thrown against Madisonville this week. As we bring up the scoreboard for you, once again, want to thank Heartfelt OBGYN in Klamath Falls and the Eisler Group for bringing you these broadcasts for free this week on mybasin.com. The first pitch to Connor Mitchison is in there for a strike, and the count is 0-1. Mitchison leading off as the catcher. Last time these two teams played in the championship game in which the Falcons won that contest 7-1. Mitchison was one of the few bright spots in the order as he finished 2 for 3 in that contest. As the pitch finds the outside corner there from Hamilton, 1-2. Of course, Corbin Hamilton coming fresh off a save in the semifinal just about a half hour ago against the Service Cougars. Here's the 1-2 count to Connor Mitchison. It misses upstairs. The count is 2-2. One of these two teams going to join some pretty exclusive company today as two tournament winners of the Alaska Airlines Tour here in Alaska. As Hamilton finds the outside corner on a fastball and sets down Mitchison for the first out in the first inning. They'll be only the 10th team to win at least two tournaments in the Alaska Airlines Tournament Tour. Go in depth about that in a second as Layden Bozarth gets ready to step in and takes a pitch low and away, 1-0. Now, you might be thinking, well, didn't Madisonville lose to Klamath Falls earlier in the week in Wasilla? And you'd be correct, but Madisonville won their first tournament of this trip in Kenai earlier in the week as a ground ball sent out to second base. Colin DeKeeney's up with it. Throw on to first is in time. That is the second quick out in the inning. Yeah, Madisonville won the first leg of the tournament tour, the Lance Cause Woodbat tournament in Kenai, defeating the hosts 2-0 at the time in that tournament championship, then meeting the Falcons in Wasilla, and now, of course, meeting the Falcons again here in this tournament. As the pitch to Martin misses low, the count is now 1-0 to the starting right fielder for the Rangers. 1-0 pitch is going to find the inside corner. No, looked like it just missed off the inside. The count is 2-0. Most recently, it was Napoleon of Ohio who did it last year. They finished first in Anchorage and first in Kenai. They did not play in the Wasilla tournament. Eugene also did it in 2023. The only other Oregon team to make and win the championship game here at the 529 Midseason Classic as the 3-0 pitch finds the zone. The count is 3-1. They did not play in Kenai, but they did earn tournament crowns here in Anchorage and in Wasilla. Here's another ground ball chance for Takini. Has to charge that one a little bit, but makes the throw on to first in time. And the Rangers down in order to start the ball game. We'll go to the bottom half of the first next in the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com.
Time to reclaim your health and your autonomy. At Heartfelt OBGYN, they focus on you. Their evidence-based approach to care means fewer office visits and a targeted treatment plan to directly address your specific needs. They believe in solutions for their patients, not the industry's profit margin. The providers at Heartfelt OBGYN are committed to serving the community and giving back to the basin. Find them at heartfeltobgyn.com. Heartfelt, because you deserve to be in control of your body and your informed choices.
At Eisler Group, they are confident that their tax and accounting professionals are experienced and trained like no one else. From individual, corporate, partnership, estate, trust, Eisler Group stands ready to help you with all of your financial, tax, and accounting needs. They have been in Klamath Falls for nearly 60 years, raising their families here and being part of the community. The Eisler Group can be found at eislerkf.com. That's ISLERKF.com. eislerkf.com.
Bottom of the first inning, and Max Price leading things off for the Klamath Falls Falcons. He'll be followed in the order by Connor Shively, the starting shortstop. Jacoby Takini is the catcher. He hits third. Colin Takini at second base bats cleanup, followed by P.J. Safford, the third baseman, batting fifth. Ian Myers at first base. He hits sixth, followed by Corbin Hamilton, the pitcher, batting seventh. Carson Sims is in right field, batting eighth, and Ryan Douglas is in left field. He bats ninth for the Klamath Falls Falcons as they go up against Jax Lee on the mound for Madisonville. Madisonville is here by virtue of their pitching through the first handful of games and the semifinal here at the 529 Midseason Classic, sporting the lowest team ERA coming into the semifinal, a 2.13 ERA in 23 innings pitched coming into the semifinal. That was the latest numbers we had, but of course, defeating Kenai 14-1 earlier in the day certainly kept that team ERA fairly low. And Max Price will have a chance to bat now for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Earlier today, Price was 2 for 4 in the semifinal and scored 2 runs. Now he's tasked with leading things off against Madisonville. The left-handed hurler Jax Lee delivers the first pitch to Price, and it's in the zone for a strike. About belt high on the inside corner to Price, and Lee gets ahead 0-1. Another pitch on the way from Lee. That one is also called a strike. Upstairs on the fastball, the count now 0-2 to Max Price. Bringing you back to the championship game in Wasilla. Price was 0 for 4 in that contest as he slices one foul. Count remains 0-2. In the game in which the Falcons lost to Madisonville and Wasilla, Price was 0 for 3, so still looking for his first hit against this team, now in the third time playing them here in Alaska. That pitch misses upstairs, 1-2. The Falcons finished this tour of Alaska, by the way, undefeated against teams from Alaska. The only game they've lost since coming here was against Madisonville and Wasilla. They did have one tie, and that was against Kenai yesterday, but have been unbeaten by teams here in Alaska. Another pitch misses upstairs, and after falling behind 0-2, Max Price works it full. The count is 3-2. Midseason is the catcher for Madisonville. Will go around the diamond after the full count pitch. That is swung on and missed by Max Price, and he is the first out in the bottom of the first inning. Aiden Rice is at third with Layden Bozarth at short. Micah Austin is at second with Hayden Hudson over at first. In the outfield from left to right, it's Jalen Groves, Easton Mefford, and you've also got Martin out there in right. The pitch to Shively is in the zone for a strike. Shively in the win in the semifinal was 1 for 4. Here he lifts one in the air the opposite way to left field. Over is the left fielder Groves to make the catch in foul territory. Had to run quite a long way to ring that one in, but he does for the second out in the first inning. This brings up Jacoby Takini now, who was 1 for 4 in the contest against Service earlier today in the semifinal. Takini had an RBI in the 6th inning in which the Falcons scored 2 runs, and that pushed them to a 5-3 win. First pitch to Takini is an outside curveball called a strike. Takini falls behind 0-1. Takini did reach base 3 times against Madisonville in the championship game of the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament in Wasilla. Although he only finished 1 for 2, he was hit by a pitch and he walked in that contest. Takes a ball there, now even in the count, 1-1 against Jax Lee. Midseason gives the sign. Lee digs for the pitch. Here's the 1-1. It's an inside fastball that's hit down the left field line, foul. And the count is now a ball and 2 strikes to Jacoby Takini, with Colin Takini waiting on deck. Lee shakes off the first offering from Midseason, then decides with it. The 1-2 is taken in the turf. The count is 2-2. Artificial field turf surface here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. It's turfed infield all the way past the cut of the outfield grass a few feet and down either line. and natural grass surface in the outfield. Takini hits one in the air to right field. Moving over is Martin towards the foul line, makes the grab, and that will end the inning. So the Falcons go down in order as well in their first inning. We'll go to the second, still scoreless on 104.3 and 960 Sports and mybasin.com. Set for the top of the second inning here in Anchorage, Alaska. The Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game between the Klamath Falls Falcons and the Madisonville Rangers. It'll be the middle of the Rangers ordered to up. Hayden Hudson, Jalen Groves, and Micah Austin. Still against Corbin Hamilton, working out there for the Falcons. Was able to get through the first three guys in order in the first inning, looking for more of the same. Starting out against Hayden Hudson. Time is called. Was it just by the home plate umpire? I believe it was. And so now we look to be about ready for baseball for Hayden Hudson. That pitch is in the zone, called a strike. A nice slider there for Hamilton to get ahead. 0-1 to Hudson, who was 1 for 3 in the championship game of the Todd Ryan Memorial Classic. So 1-1, or the 0-1 misses outside, making it 1-1. But in the game in which Madisonville beat the Falcons in the final game of group play there in Wasilla, Hayden Hudson was fantastic, to say the very least. 4 for 4 with a double and an RBI. Did everything he could to help his team to an eventual victory. As the 1-2 pitch misses low and away, the count is 2-2 to Hudson. And that was a game in which Madisonville defeated the Falcons 16-4. They had really everything going for themselves in that contest. As now the count is full to Hayden Hudson. The pitch from Hamilton is hit the opposite way, foul, and the count remains full. Falcons wearing their same uniforms from the semifinal earlier today, the home Reds, white pants, and Falcons written across their chest in blue with red trim, as Hudson goes down swinging, chasing a breaking pitch out of the zone for the first out in the second inning. For Madisonville, they're wearing their blue tops today with Madisonville written across their chest in cursive text and red outline. And they've got numbers on their fronts and their backs with white pants and red piping down those pants. Here's the first pitch to Jalen Groves. Misses off the plate outside. The count is 1-0. Jalen Groves did not play in the championship game in the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament, although he did finish 1 for 5 with a double in the game in which Madisonville defeated the Falcons. Another pitch misses upstairs there. The count is now 3-0 to Jalen Groves with Micah Austin waiting on deck. Pitch on the way from Hamilton. Uses a fastball to get across a strike. 3-1. Hamilton, the right-hander, goes fastball, slider, changeup. He may mix in a curveball here and there, but predominantly relies on the slider, as that pitch was a fastball that missed outside to Groves, and a walk issued to the second batter here in the second inning. And here comes Micah Austin. Austin was 0 for 3 in the championship game in Wasilla back on Wednesday, but was 2 for 4 with a run scored in the final game of group play of that tournament against the Falcons. Here's the pitch. Curveball, ground ball to short. Backhanded by Shively. Throw it to Keeney for 1. They go to Meyer for 2, but he beats it out. Micah Austin reaching on a fielder's choice to keep the inning alive for Madisonville. 2 away, and here comes Easton Mefford. Mefford 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts against the Falcons in the championship game in Wasilla. But again, a much better game in the first game in group play, where he finished 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 singles. Here he sends a sharp ground ball to Meyer, plays it on a hop, and fields it pretty much right on the first base bag. Taps it with the back of his foot, and that will end the inning. No runs, no hits, but a runner left for Madisonville in the second inning. We'll go to the bottom half scoreless on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 120,000 participants here in Oregon who take part in high school sports or activities.
At MyBasin.com, we bring you the power of local radio,
the pace and reach of social media,
the information of 24-hour news,
and the excitement of local sports.
We do this with a team of radio professionals that is second to none.
Klamath Falls is a community that we love and a place that we are proud to call home.
Klamath Falls deserves a media group that is as committed to you as you are to Klamath Falls.
MyBasin.com is your go-to place for news,
sports, events, and everything going on at home in Klamath Falls.
It's the bottom of the second inning, and the Klamath Falls Falcons, the Madisonville Rangers, scoreless in the championship game of the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska. It's Colin Takini, P.J. Safford, and Ian Meyer due up this half inning for the Falcons. Takini in the semifinal a little while ago picked up the win, pitched 6 innings, powering the Falcons to a 5-3 win against the Service Cougars. At the dish, though, left some to be desired. He was 0 for 4 in the contest, but he did reach on an error in the 5th inning. But his work on the mound is what helped the Falcons earn this spot here in the title game, as Jax Lee looped in a curveball for a strike. The count is 0-1. Next pitch on the way from Lee. It's a fastball that Takini chases outside of the zone. The count quickly 0-2 against Colin, getting the start at second base in this game. Lee steps, kicks, and delivers the 0-2. It misses high. The count is 1-2. Well, like I said, that the Falcons are trying to join the Eugene Challengers as the only other Oregon team to win this tournament, as Takini chases a curveball in the dirt, goes down on strikes for the first out in the second inning. Madisonville has already made some history for themselves as the first team ever from the state of Kentucky to make the Alaska Midseason Classic Championship game. They would, of course, then be the first team to win it as well. First pitch on the way to P.J. Safford is a ground ball back up the middle. Bozarth comes up with it. Throw on to first is in time, ranging towards the second base bag. A nice play by Bozarth sets down Safford. Quickly now, 2 gone in the bottom of the second inning. This will bring up Ian Meyer, getting his first at-bat today. He did come in as a defensive replacement in the 7th inning of the semifinal earlier, but getting his first crack at things in the right-handed batter's box as he watches a pitch find the upper third of the zone as he falls behind 0-1. Lee readies for the delivery to Meyer. Here it comes. Another ground ball sent out to short. Charging in is Bozarth, but is able to set his feet and throw. A nice pick out of the turf by Hudson, and that will end the inning. Falcons down in order in the second. We'll be back in just a moment. To the top of the third we go. The Alaska 529 Midseason Championship game on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
We drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see two things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys and I want to see my high school. And those are the two memories that stick out the most to me.
Top of the third inning. It'll be 8, 9, and 1 in the order for Madisonville. Tate Nobles, Aiden Rice, and Connor Mitchison due up against Corbin Hamilton. Continuing to roll right along in this start through 2 innings. Hasn't yet allowed a base hit, although same could be said for Madisonville's starter Jax Lee. It's been a briskly paced ball game through the first 2 innings. But still only the first time through the order behind what you anticipate being these teams, number 1 or number 2 guys out there on the mound. Could make a case for Corbin Hamilton being the team's strongest pitcher for the Falcons. I could say you could make a case for a couple of guys, as here's a line drive into left field. Douglas over a couple of steps to make the catch. And that's how we start the third inning. I'm sure Madisonville would say the same thing for probably 2 or 3 of their guys as well, as Aiden Rice gets ready to step in now. Rice without an at-bat yet today, the number 9 hitter in the order. Rice in the championship game was 0 for 1 at the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament back on Wednesday as Hamilton drops in a breaking pitch to get ahead 0-1. Again, Madisonville here after really taking Kenai to task in the semifinal earlier, defeated them 14-1. They scored 5 runs in the first inning of that contest. A ground ball goes foul down the third base side. The count now a ball and 2 strikes. In that contest, Madisonville, like I said, scored 5 runs in the first, and they added 4 more in the second, 5 more in the third. They had 12 hits. They've been known for the occasional offensive explosion, as the Falcons learned back in Wasilla in the final game of group play. Count still remains 1-2 after the foul ball. Hamilton fires in a slider to Rice, who checked his swing in time. The count is 2-2 to the third baseman for Madisonville. Rice was without an official at-bat in that game. He walked twice. Here, he looks at strike 3 against Corbin Hamilton, the second casualty in the third inning. Back to the top of the order we go for Connor Mitchison. He's 0 for 1 in this game, but in the semifinal against Kenai was 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Takes a slider outside. The count is 1-0. Layden Bozarth is on deck for Madisonville here in the top of the third inning. The pitch from Hamilton, 1-0, is a fastball that misses upstairs. The count 2-0. 400 feet to straightaway center field, and the wind is blowing in from center field, which would be directly south here at Mulcahy Stadium. Line drive into center field gets us the first base hit for Madisonville this game. First base hit for either team is Connor Mitchison's. Second time through the order, this is where you'll start to see things change a little bit. Pitchers have seen Hamilton through once, so we'll see what adjustments he makes as Mitchison with the base hit. In steps Layden Bozarth, who's 0 for 1 in this contest, but a real standout performer in the 14-1 win in the semifinal. Bozarth was 3 for 4 with 3 runs scored and a double in that contest. Here's the first pitch to him from Hamilton. It misses low and away. The count is 1-0. Bozarth was 0 for 3 against the Falcons in the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament Championship game. As Hamilton readies for the 1-0 pitch. Here it comes. It is going to miss upstairs. The count is 2-0 to Bozarth. the middle of the infield. Shively ranged a little bit over towards second base, although not by much. Safford a little bit more towards the third base foul line and ready for the 2-2. Two-seam fastball misses outside. The count is now 3-0. Xavier Martin is on deck for Madisonville if the inning continues. Takini delivers the sign to Hamilton. Hamilton agreeable. Takini gives the target, and Hamilton kicks and fires a two-seam fastball that finds the outside corner. Thought it might have been off the plate away, but Hamilton snuck in the two-seam fastball, trying to battle back into this at-bat. The count is 3-1. Decent lead off of first for Midseason, and the pitch. It's a ground ball back up the middle, and it gets through into center field. Back-to-back two-out base hits for Madisonville. They get a runner in scoring position now for the middle of their order. Xavier Martin due up. Midseason advancing to second base on that base hit. Xavier Martin 0 for 1 in the contest so far. Grounded out to second base in the first inning. Earlier today was 0 for 2 in the semifinal, but did have an RBI. There was no walks that he earned. Don't see a sacrifice either. Not sure exactly how he earned that RBI, but it's in the book as he takes strike one. After Xavier Martin, it's Hayden Hudson. Big lead off of first for Bozarth. Modest lead off is second for Midseason, and the pitch is hit in the air, shallow center field. Price coming in, makes the catch, and that will retire the side. So despite a couple of two-out base hits, the Falcons managed to keep this game scoreless heading to the bottom of the third inning. On 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com, this is the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
Set now for the bottom of the third inning on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com. Our coverage of the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game brought to you by Heartfelt OBGYN and the Eisler Group in Klamath Falls have been great sponsors of us this trip, allowing us to get on the road, get on a plane, and head on up here to the 49th state. It's been a great stay. Started back on Monday when the Falcons got here. They got here Monday night. They'll be leaving tomorrow afternoon. I think I found out today that despite my departure time from Alaska being a little bit earlier than the Falcons, that it seems like we're all on the same trip back home to Oregon, which will be nice. I've got a pretty lengthy layover in Seattle, but the boys are coming in a little bit later and leaving pretty much right away, it seems like. So that'll be nice for them, whereas I'll have to find some time to kill, but pretty cool that we're able to all fly back together, it seems, and hope that you can join us when we return home to Kiger Stadium. That will be Monday night in an area doubleheader against the Grants Pass Diggers. But for now, the Falcons solely focused on the Madisonville Rangers, the opponent ahead of them in this Classic Championship game. The first pitch to Corbin Hamilton will be called a strike. The count is 0-1. It's Hamilton, Sims, and Douglas due up this half inning for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Lee shakes off the first offering from Midseason, now is agreeable, and the pitch. It's a curveball that Hamilton sends on a line into center field, and a leadoff base knock for Corbin Hamilton. He gets the first hit of the game for the Falcons here in the bottom of the third inning. As I was saying earlier, Madison here by virtue of quality pitching, an ERA of 2.13 in 23 innings. And they're doing it in spite of some hitting that leaves some to be desired. Coming into the semifinal earlier today, again, they had a pretty good offensive output in that semifinal, but going into that game, they were only hitting 195 for the tournament as Sims lays down a bunt on the first pitch. That will advance Hamilton to second. And I believe that's still Hamilton running out there. Either that or it's Glidden. I must have missed a substitution. But regardless, Sims laying down a sacrifice, moving a runner into scoring position with one out, and it brings up Ryan Douglas. Make sure who that is out there at second base. Well, looks like it is Corbin Hamilton still out there running the bases for himself. Sometimes the Falcons will elect to do the courtesy runner, but not this time. Hamilton in scoring position for Ryan Douglas. And the first pitch to Douglas is on the inside corner for a strike. The count is 0-1. Douglas in the semifinal earlier today was 0 for 3, hit into a fielder's choice. He popped out, and then he reached on an error. But that error that he reached on in the 6th inning, he came around to score one of 2 runs in that frame that pushed the Falcons to a 5-3 victory against their semifinal opponent, the Service Cougars. And the 0-1 is fouled back from Douglas. The count is 0-2. Max Price waits on deck for the Falcons. The championship game, the Wasilla tournament, Douglas was 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored in that final game. Down 0-2 in the count against Jax Lee. Big lead off a second for Corbin Hamilton, and the delivery from Lee is a slider that misses outside. A good take by Douglas to stay alive in this at-bat. The count moves now to 1-2. Lee takes a look at Hamilton's lead at second before coming set. The second baseman, Austin, over there trying to keep him honest. And the 1-2 pitch will miss down and in. The count is 2-2 to Douglas, who bats .318 on the season for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Worked the count even after falling down 0-2. Here's the pitch. Swings and pops that one up near third base. The third baseman, Rice, couple of steps in front of the bag, will make the catch for the second out in the 3rd inning. Hamilton remains at second base. And it'll bring up Max Price, who is 0 for 1 in the contest, went down on strikes in the 1st inning. Price, like I said earlier in the semifinal, was 2 for 4. Set is Lee. And the first pitch to Max Price. It's a fastball that misses high. 1-0. 2 for 4 game in the semifinal for Price, batting .398 on the season. Falcons as a team bat .352 coming into play today. The 1-0 pitch on the way is going to miss outside. The count is 2-0 to Price with Connor Shively waiting on deck. It was a leadoff single for Hamilton, followed by a sacrifice bunt from Sims to move him into scoring position. It's up to Price to try to drive him home. He lifts one in the air to the right side in foul territory. The first baseman will move over by the dugout, or by the dugout to make the catch and end the inning. Nice job by Hudson to bring that one in to retire the side as we go to the top of the 4th, still scoreless on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com. This is the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars. There are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account, to retirement planning, and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union, find your path.
It's the top of the fourth inning in the Alaska 5-9 Midseason Classic Championship game between the Klamath Falls Falcons and the Madisonville Rangers. Still looking for our first run. Madisonville does have 2 hits. They've committed no errors. They've left 3 runners on base. The Falcons have 1 hit. They've committed no errors, and they've left 1 runner on base as well. As the first pitch to Hayden Hudson dips below the zone from Hamilton, and the first baseman for Madisonville gets ahead to start the fourth inning. The 1-0 pitch also misses outside. Count 2-0 to Hudson, who is 0 for 1 in this contest. He struck out back in the second inning. The 2-0 from Hamilton also misses outside, falling behind the leadoff hitter here. It's Hudson, Groves, and then Austin do up this half inning for Madisonville. The 3-0 pitch, that one does find the outside corner. The count now moves to 3-1. Another ground ball, this time out to Shively. Shortstop plays it cleanly. Throw on to first is in time, and that is the first out in the fourth inning. Able to play that one nicely off this turf surface. I talked about a little bit here at Mulcahy Stadium. I thought it was remarkable that this field turf surface is the same field turf that they've had out there since 2009. 16 seasons played on the same turf surface. Here's the first pitch to Jalen Groves. Finds the outer third. The count is 0-1. They have replaced the turf in a couple of key areas. Firstly, around the plate and around the bases. The mound has also been replaced, but everywhere else, most of the infield, the base paths, all of what you would say is the infield dirt, all of that has been the same stuff for the last 16 seasons. And they say it's because when this place is covered in snow, it's not being beaten down by the sun like so many turf fields in Oregon. And so with the UV rays being blocked by the snow from the months of October through mid-March, that it doesn't damage the turf as much. As the 2-1 pitch misses outside, the count's now 3-1 to Jalen Groves, who walked in his first at-bat. Hamilton working from the windup in the 3-1, ready to deliver. That one is going to be a two-seam fastball, crept back over the plate against the righty. The count runs full now, 3-2. Groves settles in against Hamilton a bit closer to the plate. He shoots one down the first base line. Meyer comes up with it cleanly. He gives the right hand to Hamilton, says stay put, takes it to the bag himself, and records the second out. Brings up Micah Austin, who's 0 for 1 today, reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning. Hamilton looks to retire the side in order for what would be the second time today. He gets ahead of the hitter with 2 outs, 0-1. As Micah Austin bats from the right side, here's the pitch. Austin shows bunt, but that winds up getting fouled off, just rolled off the bottom of the barrel. The count is 0-2. This is the first time since 2013 that an Alaskan team has not played in the Midseason Classic Championship game, as the 0-2 pitch is looked at outside. The count is 1-2. In 2013, it was Napoleon of Ohio who won their second of what would wind up being 5 tournament championship games. They beat Texarkana from Texas. Here's a lazy fly ball behind second base. Colin Takini back a few steps to put that one away for the out. Down in order go the Rangers in the top of the fourth. To the bottom half we go scoreless. This is the Alaska 5-9 Midseason Classic Championship game between the Falcons and the Rangers on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Wait, all I do is wait. So lonely, I just sigh and moan. Seems like I've been waiting forever, wondering if you're coming home.
This is where unconditional love and immeasurable happiness reside. This is home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Connor Shively, Jacoby Tacchini, and Colin Tacchini. The three men due up to try to get something going for the Klamath Falls Falcons in the championship game of the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic. In the bottom of the fourth inning, still looking for our first run from anybody. Jax Lee's been throwing well on the mound for Madisonville. Hamilton has done the same for the Falcons. That's what you come to expect from the two best pitching staffs in the tournament so far. I've said plenty about Madisonville's 2.13 ERA in the tournament. The Falcons, not much worse, 2.33 in the tournament. The best two pitching staffs really showing off here in the championship game through the first half of the ball game. First pitch to Shively, misses below the zone. The count is 1-0. Shively 0 for 1 in the contest. He flew out to left field in the first inning. Swings and misses at an outside fastball. The count is now even at a ball and a strike. Shively in the semifinal earlier was 1 for 4. So the 1-1 pitch is going to bounce to the plate. And the count is 2-1. Take you back to the championship game in Wasilla where these two teams last met. Shively was 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs scored in the 7-1 championship winner for the Falcons back on Wednesday. Sends a line drive to center field. Mefford takes a couple of steps in and puts it away for the out. Squared up that ball nicely for Shively, but unfortunately just hit it right to the center fielder for the out. And it will now bring up Jacoby Tacchini, who's also 0 for 1 in the contest. He flew out to right field in the first inning. First pitch to Tacchini. Fastball looked high but called a strike. The count is 0-1 to Jacoby. After him in the order, it's Colin Tacchini. Jacoby saw him get here a little bit early today before the rest of the team did. Took a little bit of extra batting practice in the cage with his dad, Joe, assistant coach for the Klamath Falls Falcons. They were having a moment there in the batting cage before the game and was able to just spot it from sitting here in the press box. Tacchini fouls that one back. The count is now 1-2. And even before the semifinal started earlier today, they came out behind home plate and they shared a hug and were talking about the game, I'm sure, but a very special connection between those two guys. The 1-2 pitch is grounded out towards second base. Austin fields it. Throw on to first is in time, and down goes Tacchini is the second out in the fourth inning. It'll bring up Colin Tacchini, who is 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. He struck out in the second inning. Tacchini wasn't exactly productive at the plate in the semifinal, but he did pick up the win on the mound in a solid 6-inning outing. He checks his swing, pushes it down the first baseline foul. The count is 0-1. He was 1 for 4 with 2 RBI in the championship game, though, in Wasilla. And again, that was a game in which the Falcons won 7-1 against Madisonville. Madisonville placed second in that tournament, first in the Kenai Woodbat tournament. It's a foul ball straight back, moves the count to 0-2 to Colin Tacchini. So like I said, one of these teams will be the 10th team ever to win 2 of the 3 tournaments in the Alaska Airlines Tour. The 0-2 pitch is going to miss outside. The count is 1-2. They joined Napoleon from 2024, 2019, and 2013. The team from Ohio has had a really good resume here in Alaska. A bouncing ball up the middle, fielded by the shortstop, Bozar. Throw on to first just in time to get Tacchini. And the Falcons go 1-2-3 in the 4th inning. To the 5th we go, still looking for our first run in the championship game of the Alaska 529 Mid-Season Classic. We'll be back with you after a 60-second break on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Time to reclaim your health and your autonomy at
Bottom third of the order for Madisonville due up this half inning. It's Easton Mefford, Tate Nobles, and Aiden Rice going up against Corbin Hamilton. Still dealing a shutout through the first 4 innings, as is his counterpart, Jax Lee. A pitcher's duel. That's probably my favorite kind of baseball game. You know, we had back in Wasilla, I had an opportunity to call a 10-8 baseball game that was an offensive tug of war with 5 lead changes. That was fun. But there's something about a pitcher's duel that really excites me, and that's what we're seeing through the first 4 innings here. Hamilton looking to keep his end of the bargain up, and he starts things out with a strike to Easton Mefford, and the count is 0-1. Plenty of great pitchers have pitched here at Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska, as Easton Mefford falls behind at the count 0-2. This is also home to the Alaskan Baseball League's Anchorage Glacier Pilots and the Anchorage Bucks. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Hamilton, misses off the plate outside. The name that jumps out to me is Randy Johnson. Of course, pitched here in the 80s before making the big leagues for, I don't even remember how many years Randy Johnson was in the big leagues for, but the big unit was one of the best pitchers to ever play the game of baseball. Pitched here for the Glacier Pilots. The 1-2 pitch is on the way to Easton Mefford. A line drive up the middle and a base hit is how we'll get things started for the Rangers in the 5th inning. For them, that'll be their 3rd base hit of the contest, and it'll bring up Tate Nobles. So many other great players have come here and played through either the Glacier Pilots or the Anchorage Bucks. I'm thinking, well, most recently, Aaron Judge comes to mind, the New York Yankees 2017 Home Run Derby winner, Rookie of the Year. With the New York Yankees, of course, he played here for the Glacier Pilots. As the first pitch, it's going to miss upstairs to Nobles. The count is 1-0. Even going back a little bit further, J.T. Snow, formerly off the top of my mind of the San Francisco Giants, played here. Mark McGuire played here in 1982. The 1-0 pitch is called a strike. The count is even now. A ball and a strike to Tate Nobles. Paul Goldschmidt played for the Anchorage Bucks. He was a first baseman for the Arizona Diamondbacks for a number of seasons. So many great players have played here on this very field at Mulcahy Stadium. 1-1 pitch to Tate Nobles. Will have to wait. Check on the runner over at first, but back safely. Ryan Ludwig was with the St. Louis Cardinals in the mid-2000s. He also played here. I mean, so many. Just trying to rattle off some off the top of my head that I remembered from walking around this stadium. I mean, you go down the first base side, and the entire fence lining the stadium on the first base side is full of former Glacier Pilots who used to play here. And the third base side is filled with plenty of Anchorage Bucks who made the big leagues as well. The 1-2 pitch is a curveball that Hamilton got a swing and a miss. Nobles down on strikes for the first out in the 5th inning. Mefford stays aboard at first. Aiden Rice steps in now. Rice is 0 for 1 in the contest. He struck out back in the 3rd inning. Glacier Pilots were the NBC World Series champions 5 times, a couple of times in the 1980s, once in the 1970s as well. That pitch misses low and away. The count is 1-0. The NBC World Series, of course, the National Baseball Congress. Like I said, I believe they're playing their 90th World Series this summer. Glacier Pilots haven't been there in quite some time, but winning it a handful of times is certainly a feat to be sure. Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way to Aiden Rice. Misses up and in. The count is 2-0 to the 3rd baseman for the Rangers. Up next would be Connor Midseason. He's the leadoff hitter for Madisonville. He's due up next. Corbin Hamilton readies with the 2-0. Fastball over the heart of the plate. Gets it across for a strike. 2-1. 8:18 local time here in Alaska, and the sun will not set for at least another 4 or 5 hours probably. As the 2-1 pitch is another fastball on the outside corner. Evens the count at 2. The temperature doesn't drop all that much. Back when I got here at 2 o'clock today, it was 65 degrees, and right now, 6 hours later, it's 63 degrees. And it'll stay that way all the way until about midnight tonight, like I said. Another curveball outside, and a battle won by Corbin Hamilton gets Rice on a swing and a miss. 2 gone now in the 5th inning. And we go back to the top for Connor Midseason. Now, Midseason is 1 for 2 in the game so far. He struck out in the first, but singled and was left stranded in the third. Had to ditch the shin guards as he was the catcher batting with 1 out. And timeout is called as Coach Craig Connor comes out of the dugout for the Klamath Falls Falcons. Gives us a quick opportunity to once again recognize our tournament broadcast sponsors, being Heartfelt OBGYN in Klamath Falls and the Eisler Group. Those folks have been supporting us all week, and truth be told, we asked them very late in the game if they wanted to come aboard and sponsor this trip, and without a second thought, they said, yes, of course, want to get these games on the air. So big thanks to those people. Because they support us, you should support them as well. The conference on the mound is a quick one for Coach Connor as he heads on back to the dugout ahead of the at-bat to Connor Midseason. There's a runner on board at first for Madisonville. It's Easton Mefford who led off the inning with a single. Since then, back-to-back strikeouts bring up Midseason with 2 away. Hamilton getting ready to come set to Midseason. He shakes off the first sign from Takini. Now comes set. Here's the offering. It's an outside fastball, I think missed upstairs. The count is 1-0. Midseason has swung the bat very well against the Klamath Falls Falcons in the now 3 games that they've played here in Alaska. The 1-0 pitch is a slider that's dropped in there for a strike, 1-0. In the opener that the Rangers won, he was 3 for 4 with 4 RBI and a double. In the championship game in Wasilla, he was 2 for 3 with an RBI. Move over to first. Back safely is Mefford. And so Midseason has, like I said, seen our Oregon squad very well, trying to come up in a 2-out spot with a runner on first here. The count is a ball and a strike to the Rangers catcher, and the pitch will miss low and away. The count is 2-1. After Midseason in the order is Layden Bozarth. Madisonville, Kentucky, the only team to play in all 3 of the Alaska Airlines Tour tournaments this year. The 2-1 pitch misses outside. It was a wood bat tournament in Kenai that was played around this time last week. And then, of course, the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament in Wasilla, then here in Anchorage. They finished first in Kenai, second in Wasilla to the Falcons. And now we're playing the Falcons again in this title game, as that one is called a strike on the outside corner, and the count runs full. 3-2, 2 outs, runner at first. So Mefford is going to be on the move on this pitch to Connor Midseason. Hamilton takes a deep breath before coming set and delivers the pitch. It's a slider that misses low and away, and so a walk issued to Midseason here brings up Layden Bozarth. Bozarth 1 for 2 in this game. He grounded out in the first and singled in the third. And timeout is called. Coach Connor comes back out of the dugout. This will signal a pitching change. Ian Meyer heads to the dugout, likely to be replaced. Looks like Hunter Glidden comes out to replace him, and Max Price comes in from center field. That's best I can tell so far, but we'll find out for sure in just a moment. In the top of the 5th inning, the Falcons have a pitching change with 2 outs and 2 runners on in a scoreless ball game. The Alaska 529 Midseason Tournament Championship. We'll be back in just a minute. Let Price get those warm-up tosses in. Back after this on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Time to reclaim your health and your autonomy. At Heartfelt OBGYN, they focus on you. Their evidence-based approach to care means fewer office visits and a targeted treatment plan to directly address your specific needs. They believe in solutions for their patients, not the industry's profit margin. The providers at Heartfelt OBGYN are committed to serving the community and giving back to the basin. Find them at heartfeltobgyn.com. Heartfelt, because you deserve to be in control of your body and your informed choices.
At Eisler Group, they are confident that their tax and accounting professionals are experienced and trained like no one else. From individual, corporate, partnership, estate, trust, Eisler Group stands ready to help you with all of your financial, tax, and accounting needs. They have been in Klamath Falls for nearly 60 years, raising their families here and being part of the community. The Eisler Group can be found at eislerkf.com. That's ISLERKF.com. ISLERKF.com.
Max Price on the hill now for the Klamath Falls Falcons, replacing Corbin Hamilton, who returns to the game at first. And just like I said, Ryan Glidden goes out to play right field. Carson Sims moves from right to play center. Douglas remains in left. And there are your changes for the Falcons. Hunter Glidden will bat in the 7 hole. No, pardon me. He will bat in the 6 hole in place of Ian Meyer, who exited the game. So long as things stay the same on the offensive end as they are on the defensive side of things for the Falcons. Just making that note here in my book, as with 2 runners on and 2 out, it'll be Layden Bozarth for the Madisonville Rangers. It was a leadoff single for Easton Mefford against Corbin Hamilton. Hamilton then struck out the next 2 batters before issuing a walk to Connor Midseason. It advanced Mefford to second. And so there you go. 2 on, 2 out, top of the 5th inning. Scoreless ball game in the Alaska 5-2-9 midseason championship game. And Layden Bozarth steps in, 1 for 2 today. He singled his last time up. Pitch from Price is called a strike. 0-1. Looked to be an off-speed pitch, finding the outside corner to Bozarth, and Price gets ahead 0-1. For Max, this is his 6th appearance of the summer. All have been in relief. The 0-1 pitch is in the turf. The count is even now at a ball and a strike. Price has a 1-0 record. He's given up 4 hits and no earned runs. He's struck out 4 and walked 1. He's the final... Well, I'll stand corrected and pause that thought there, as I am mistaken. The count now 2-1 to Layden Bozarth. Max Price, 8 2/3 innings. He's pitched the 3rd fewest innings this year for the Falcons, but they're looking to get some length out of him here, bringing him in the top of the 5th inning. Price is set and delivers the 2-1. It's hit in the air to center field. Sims, back a step, comes in and makes the catch to end the inning. A base hit and a walk, 2 runners left, but nobody comes in to score. To the bottom of the 5th we go, still looking for that elusive first run on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Introducing Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, your trusted partner in marketing and communication. We specialize in crafting compelling campaigns, eye-catching graphics, and impactful branding materials.
Smith Bates is like working with dependable friends. They always help us build our professional image.
Through the innovative strategies that the team at Smith Bates suggested, we've been able to give the brand at Calor the boost that it desperately needed.
Unlock your potential with Smith Bates Marcom Solutions.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Getting set for the bottom of the 5th inning on 104.3 and 960 Sports and on MyBasin.com. Due up this half inning for the Klamath Falls Falcons in a scoreless ball game is P.J. Safford, Ryan Glidden, and Corbin Hamilton. Looking to get something going against Jax Lee, who has pitched a scoreless first 4 innings of this contest. As P.J. Safford will be the leadoff man. He's 0 for 1 today. He grounded out to shortstop back in the 2nd inning. It's been a great ball game so far. Madison has a quick huddle behind the mound before we get going in the bottom of the 5th. Safford settles into the right-handed batter's box as Lee toes the rubber and is ready to go with the first pitch. It is hit weakly in front of the mound. Up with it is the pitcher Lee. Sets his feet, throw on to first. One pitch and one gone in the 5th inning. It'll bring up now Hunter Glidden. Glidden started in right field in the semifinal win for the Falcons against Service. He was hitless in that game, but was hit by a pitch, reaching base one time in that game. Flashing you back to the previous games against Madisonville. Glidden got the start in the loss for the Falcons, the game in which they lost 16-4 against Madisonville. But in that game, Glidden was 1 for 3 with a single. He takes ball 1, and he fouls off the 1-0 pitch. The count is now even to Ryan Glidden, who hits in the spot of Ian Meyer. Now, Meyer exits the game after going 0 for 1. Meyer started the game at first base, but once Hamilton's day on the mound was done, he exited the game in favor of Glidden to patrol right field. An off-speed pitch, got a swing and a miss there from Ryan Glidden. Confusing the two brothers there, as Ryan is behind in the count 1-2 with Corbin Hamilton due up next. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It is swung on and missed on the inside fastball. Glidden down on strikes for the second out in the 5th inning. And here comes Corbin Hamilton. Like I said, turned in a quality start on the mound. He exited after 4 2/3 innings pitched, giving up 3 hits and no earned runs while striking out 5. Kept him at 79 pitches. And again, he did collect the save in the opener today. Sends a ground ball to left side of the infield. A nice play by the shortstop and a strong throw, Layden Bozarth, with a fantastic play to retire Hamilton there. And the Falcons go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 5th. To the 6th we go, still looking for our first run of the ball game. 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com, your home for the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 120,000 participants here in Oregon who take part in high school sports or activities.
At MyBasin.com, we bring you the power of local radio,
the pace and reach of social media,
the information of 24-hour news,
and the excitement of local sports.
We do this with a team of radio professionals that is second to none.
Klamath Falls is a community that we love and a place that we are proud to call home.
Klamath Falls deserves a media group that is as committed to you as you are to Klamath Falls.
MyBasin.com is your go-to place for news,
sports, events, and everything going on at home in Klamath Falls.
It is the top of the 6th inning, and Max Price getting ready for his 2nd inning in relief out there against the Madisonville Rangers, still scoreless in the top of the 6th in the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game. The first pitch from Price is a swing and a miss from Xavier Martin. As Martin falls behind 0-1. He's 0 for 2 in the contest. He grounded out in the first and flew out in the 3rd. Price delivers the 0-1 pitch. It's hit foul the opposite way. Count moves to 0-2. Like I said, both teams have already made history here in this championship game. As the 0-2 on the way to Martin will be looked at for a ball upstairs. Madisonville, the first ever team from the state of Kentucky to make the championship game. The Klamath Falls Falcons, only the second ever team from Oregon to make the championship game. The 1-2 pitch misses down and in, 2-2. One of these teams will join a list of 10 teams who've ever won 2 tournaments here in the same summer in Alaska. The 2-2 pitch on the way from Max Price. Here it comes. Fouled off. Looks like it caught Martin on the front leg, too, as it rattled away. Give him a second to walk that one off. Make sure he's okay. That one didn't feel great, I'm sure. After Martin in the order, it's Hayden Hudson and then Jalen Groves. It's 3, 4, and 5 for Madisonville in this half inning. Madisonville has come close a couple of times. They've left 5 runners on base so far in the contest. 2 of those were in scoring position. Inside fastball misses and runs the count full to Xavier Martin. 3 hits compared to the Falcons' 1. Like I said, it's been a pitcher's duel through 5 innings. A 3-2 pitch is a ground ball out towards second. Colin Tacchini comes up with it, throws on to Hamilton in time, and the out. Oh, they're going to call him safe. Hamilton dropped it on the transfer. Oh, no. He dropped it on the transfer. Oh, man, they're going to call him safe on the air. Hamilton picked it out of the dirt, showed the umpire, went to go drop it into his throwing hand, and dropped it on the turf. Oh, no. Oh, safe at first on the error. I guess you give the error to Hamilton there. That is a brutal break for the Falcons, bringing up Hayden Hudson now with a runner at first. Runner on the move. He gets about halfway there and turns back as Hudson thought about laying down a bunt, and instead it's called a strike as he pulled back in time. I can't believe we didn't get any help on that call. I can't believe it. Hudson is 0 for 2 in the game. He struck out in the second and grounded out in the fourth. Runner on the move. The pitch called a strike. The throw down to second, and no one was there to cover the bag. Shively went to go back up. Tacchini just stayed put at second, and so that allows the runner to advance into scoring position. But the count is 0-2 to Hayden Hudson with Jalen Groves on deck. Price looking in, gets the sign from Tacchini, and time is called at the plate by the batter Hudson. As he steps out, Tacchini remains calling time. And goes out to discuss just quickly with Max, and goes back, and we're ready to go. Oh, 2 the count to Hudson. Back on the mound is Price as he comes set. Modest leadoff is second for Martin. The 0-2 misses upstairs. The count is 1-2 to Hudson. Looking back at the semifinal for Madisonville, a commanding win over Service, 14-1 earlier today. See if we can give you the final for Hudson in that game as he takes a pitch inside 2-2. Hudson was 2 for 2 in that contest, the 14-1 win in the semifinal. And he also added an RBI in that game. He's looking to get the first run across here as a runner in scoring position and nobody out. The 2-2 pitch is ground ball towards second. Tacchini up with it again. This time the throw on to Hamilton. He squeezes it and doesn't drop it into his throwing hand. This time he digs it out of the leather, and that will certainly be an out as the runner advances to third. It's Xavier Martin. Hayden Hudson out on the putout, and it'll bring up Jalen Groves, who's 0 for 1 in the game. He walked in the second and grounded out in the fourth. Infield comes in for the Falcons. They're going to try to cut down that runner at third on a ground ball in the infield in the top of the 6th inning of a scoreless championship ball game. Max Price comes set. Pitch on its way. It is popped up in foul territory behind first. The count is 0-1. After Groves, it's Micah Austin. Groves was 1 for 2 with 3 runs scored and an RBI in the semifinal win for Madisonville against Kenai earlier today. The 0-1 pitch is going to miss low and away. The count is 1-1 to the Madisonville left fielder. Groves was 2 for 5 against Klamath Falls back in Wasilla. Pitch is fouled back. Count is now a ball and 2 strikes to Groves. First time that either team has had a runner at third base all game. 10th spot out there. Max Price comes set, takes a look at the runner at third before delivering home. The 1-2 is hit into the air, center field. It'll get down for a base hit and will score the first run of the ball game. An RBI single for Jalen Groves will score Xavier Martin, giving Madisonville a 1-0 advantage in the top of the 6th inning. RBI single there for Groves, and it brings up Micah Austin, who's 0 for 2 in the contest. Austin reached on a fielder's choice in the second, popped out in the fourth. And here's the first pitch. It's right down the middle for strike one. Micah Austin, in the win against Kenai earlier today, was 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored and an RBI. The 0-1 pitch to him is a curveball that graces the outside corner. The count is 0-2 to Austin. Easton Mefford is on deck for Madisonville. Price set. The 0-2. It's a curveball that's popped up out of play foul. The count remains 0-2. And again, that runner that scored is unearned against Price. It was an error on the play that allowed Martin to reach. But still, a run has come across. Kentucky leads in the late going of this championship game. They've been late-inning heroes all tournament long. In fact, they've come back in a ton of games. Down 6-3, the Rangers tied West Anchorage 6-6. That was the one game they tied late in that game. The 1-2 is a sharp grounder over to second. Takini turns, throws to Shively at second for one. They get the back end, and a 4-6-3 double play gets the Falcons out of this inning. We'll hold that thought about against Madisonville as they go down in the top of the sixth inning. But they do score a run on one base hit, and they leave one runner stranded. Going to the bottom of the sixth next, the Falcons will try to answer and get on the board. They trail Madisonville 1-0 in the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Championship game on 104.3 and 960 Sports.
We drive play an important part of our everyday. Whether we're going to work, dropping off the kids at school, or maybe even on that first date. Vehicles we drive play an important role in all of that. And that's why at Klamath Falls Subaru, we are so passionate about getting you the long-lasting vehicle that you will love. When you come to our store, you'll find that every department is dedicated to caring for our customers, which is why I can proudly send anyone here knowing that they will be treated like family. Stop by and say hi. When you come to Klamath Falls Subaru, you're coming home.
Sports was kind of what defined me as a person. I loved to play every sport I could possibly play. The Abbeys was really the family stomping ground for all of our community. Saturday afternoon soccer tournaments, we'd head over to Abbeys afterwards. And then when we got up into middle school, on our way home, we'd stop at Abbeys after basketball games. When I go home, I want to see two things when I drive through Winston. I want to see my Abbeys, and I want to see my high school. And those are the two memories that stick out the most to me.
Bottom of the sixth inning, the Klamath Falls Falcons trail the Madisonville Rangers in the Alaska 529 Midseason Classic Tournament Championship game. It'll be Carson Sims, Ryan Douglas, and Max Price due up this inning. That's 8, 9, and 1 for the Falcons as they look to answer for the run that Madisonville scored in the top half of this inning. Jax Lee still out there on the mound for Madisonville. He's thrown very well. The left-hander delivers the first pitch to Sims. It's a strike taken on the inside corner. 0-1. Quick check of the line score for Jax Lee so far. Through 5 innings, he's allowed 1 hit and struck out 3 batters. The 0-1 is hit the opposite way foul. Count is 0-2. Carson Sims without an official at-bat in this contest. He sacrifice bunted a runner into scoring position in the 3rd inning, but now chokes up a bit in an 0-2 count. Here's the delivery from Lee. Sims hits it foul down the third base side, stays alive in the count, 0-2. Lee's also been pretty economic with the pitch count as well. This will only be the 53rd pitch of the game for Lee. Here's the pitch. It's going to miss outside. The count is 1-2. Again, Douglas is who waits on deck for the Falcons. Needing a run to tie it here in the bottom of the 6th. The pitch is a ground ball out towards second. Austin is up with it. The throw on to first is in time, and Sims down as the first out in the 6th inning. This will bring up Ryan Douglas, who's 0 for 1 in the game. Douglas popped out in foul territory to third base back in the 3rd inning. It'll be up to him to start the rally for the Falcons. He's done it once today already. Has Douglas reached on an error in the 6th inning of the semifinal earlier today that the Falcons obviously defeated Service in to get here. Reached on an error in the 6th inning and would eventually come around to score to give the Falcons a late inning lead that they would hold on to in the top half of the 7th. As he takes the 0-1 pitch inside, the count is 1-1. Douglas settles back into the right-handed batter's box, awaits the 1-1 pitch from Lee that he fouls off. The count now moves to a ball and 2 strikes to Douglas with Max Price waiting on deck. Coach Sean Teeters pacing in the third base coaching box, hoping that Douglas can find a way to get on base in a 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed the outside fastball. Douglas will go down on strikes here in the 6th inning. Only the fourth strikeout of the day for Jax Lee. He's pitched to contact today, and he's done a good job of it as Max Price looks to start a 2-out rally for the Klamath Falls Falcons. He's 0 for 2 today. As that pitch was a breaking ball that started off the plate but moved back over the middle of the zone for strike 1. Price started the game in center field, has since come in to pitch. As he awaits the 0-1 pitch, it misses up and away. The count is even now at a ball and a strike. Price has pitched an inning and 2/3 so far, giving up 1 hit, 1 run. It's unearned. The 1-1 pitch finds the upper third of the zone. The count is a ball and 2 strikes to Price. He's going to have to battle here with 2 gone in the inning. Lee delivers. Misses outside, just barely. A good pitch to take for Price there. I don't know if I'd be able to lay off that in a 2-strike count, but a good eye there by Max to stay alive in this at-bat. The 2-2 is hit foul, and the count remains 2-2. Lee has nearly faced the minimum so far through 6 innings. The lone base hit came from Corbin Hamilton in the 3rd. He's been dealing so far. Price trying to change things. The 2-2 is lined into center field, and he does change things. A base hit for Max Price, and the Falcons have the tying run on base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning for Connor Shively. Shively 0 for 2 in the contest so far, but no at-bat bigger than this one in the ball game to this point. He's flown out twice, once to left field and once to center field. Modest lead off of first for Price. Got to be careful with Lee, the left-hander. Can give you an interesting look out there with that pickoff move. Price is going to have to be patient as the first pitch to Shively misses upstairs. The count is 1-0. Now Lee comes set with that pitch. Here it comes. That one is going to be called a strike on the outside. Count 1-1. A lot of speed on first base, too, for Max. Try to find a gap out there. You see if he gets the green light. Wouldn't be shocked, but first it's up to Shively to get a ball out there. In a 1-1 count, Shively awaits the delivery from Lee. Kicks, fires. Shively chases an off-speed pitch out of the zone to fall behind. 1-2. Good 2-strike hitter. The team's leading hitter is Connor Shively. Earlier today, finished 1 for 4 with a run scored in the semifinal. Trying to find his first base hit here. It's called a ball. Misses high. Price is on the move. The throw down is not in time. And Max Price is in scoring position in a 2-2 count. Nearly got him. A good throw from behind the plate from Midseason, but a good slide from Price, showing off that speed I was talking about. Here's the 2-2 to Shively. Swings and misses, and that will do it for the 6th inning. The Falcons leave the tying run in scoring position, and we go to the 7th next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all seasons. 24/7, we're here for you. Powering your greatness.
Top of the seventh inning in a 1-0 ball game in the Alaska 5-2-9 Midseason Classic Championship. It is the bottom third of the order for the Rangers. Easton Mefford, Tate Nobles, and Aiden Rice. Due up is Max Price, still working out of the bullpen. Delivers the first pitch. It's a high fly ball to center field just behind second base. The second baseman, Takini, is actually the one who makes the catch, backpedaling to retire Mefford. The first out in the top of the seventh inning. Here's Tate Nobles. Like I said, Price in relief has thrown well. The one run that's come across to score was unearned. And Nobles steps in now. He's 0 for 2. Nobles flew out in the third and struck out in the fifth. Price working out of the windup. Here's the pitch. It's a swing and a miss on the first pitch to Nobles. The count is 0-1. Nobles, well, we'll wait for this pitch from Price as it's hit foul. The count now 0-2. In the 14-1 win against Kenai in the semifinal, Nobles was 1 for 3 with 5 RBI in the contest. Came up with a bases-clearing double in the second inning. Here he sends a ground ball out to second. Takini getting his second chance to show the defense here, and he does so successfully with the throw on to first. 2 quick outs here in the top of the seventh inning. Aiden Rice steps in now. He's 0 for 2 today. He has struck out in the third and fifth innings. First pitch from Price is bounced right back up the middle. Takini, a third chance. Comes in to field it. The throw on to first is not in time. Hustling down the line was Aiden Rice. It was a tough ball for Takini to get to. A high bouncing ball. Takini fielded it closer to the pitcher's mound than the second base bag. Made a nice throw to first, but it just wasn't in time as Rice beat out the infield single, reaching now with 2 away in the inning. Bring up Connor Midseason, who is 1 for 2 today. Midseason singled in the third, struck out in the first, and walked in the fifth. First pitch to him misses below the knees. The count is 1-0. On deck, if the inning continues, is Layden Bozarth. Pitch from Price, called a strike on the outside corner. The count is 0-1. Midseason 2 for 4 in the semifinal with an RBI. Like I said, has already picked up a base hit today. The 1-1 is a slider that misses off the outside from Price. The count is 2-1. About a 3-step lead off of first for Rice. Nothing much to speak of as the 2-1 pitch is another one hit out to Takini at second. He goes the short way to Shively at second, and that will be the inning. 1 base hit, but no runs come across. The Falcons in the bottom of the seventh will have the middle of their order due up. Jacoby and Colin Takini and P.J. Safford to try to extend or win the Alaska 5-2-9 Midseason Classic Championship game when we come back on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com.
Threads. There are many threads that run through our region. There are churches and schools and Little League teams that bring us together and bind us into communities. There are roads and cars, there are houses and jobs and businesses, all woven together to make the fabric of our communities. There are financial threads that are part of that tapestry as well. For over 80 years, it's been our pleasure to be headquartered here, providing financial services to generations of our friends and neighbors. From that first savings account to retirement planning and all of the cars and houses and groceries in between, we keep your money local, investing it back into our communities, adding more threads to the fabric to make our communities stronger. Pacific Crest Federal Credit Union. Find your path.
In the bottom of the 7th inning, the Klamath Falls Falcons trail the Madisonville Rangers of Kentucky 1-0. Jacoby Takini, Colin Takini, PJ Safford looking to extend or take the lead in a walk-off victory fashion in the championship game. Jax Lee's been throwing well, though. First task is Jacoby Takini, 0 for 2 today. He flew out to right field, and he grounded out to second base in the 4th. Here's the pitch to Takini. Takes a curveball, dropped in for a strike by Lee. The count is 0-1. Lee working quickly out there. The lefty delivers the 0-1. Hit in the air towards right field. Moving over is the right fielder, Martin. He makes the catch. Running towards the foul line. Had to go a long way to bring it in, but he does. And Xavier Martin records the first out in the 7th inning. The Rangers now only 2 outs away from their first ever midseason classic championship game. And by the way, I want to get this out there. No matter if the Falcons come back to win or this game stays where it is, the first pitch to Colin Takini misses upstairs. This is the lowest scoring championship game in tournament history. Doesn't matter if the Falcons come back for a win or not. No two teams have ever combined for less than 4 runs in the championship game. As that pitch misses upstairs, the count is 3-0. That's happened a couple of times. 2008, Fairfield and Napoleon, that was a 3-1 final. And I look back to there's one more 3-1 final that I just lost track of. But it has happened one other occasion. The 3-1 is hit in the air again towards right field. That one's in foul territory and out of play. The count is full. 3-2 to Colin Takini. Colin struck out in the 2nd, grounded out in the 4th. Trying to get a rally started here for the Falcons. Down by a single run in the last of the 7th. Lee ready with the 3-2. Here it is. Misses upstairs. And the tying run is on base for PJ Safford. That is the first walk allowed by Jax Lee so far in the ballgame. He's given up a couple of base hits. That's the first free pass, and it comes with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Safford's 0 for 2 today. Grounded out in the 2nd and the 5th. Corner in protecting bunt. Here's the pitch. Nope, they're going to move over to first, and back safely is Takini. Safford likely to swing away. No sacrifice in this situation. They're going to let Saff take a few cuts here and try to get on base. Takini's got decent speed over there at first, as the first pitch misses wide. 1-0. This season for the Falcons, PJ Safford hitting right around 250, 253 to be exact. The 1-0 pitch on the way from Lee is a curveball that finds the upper part of the zone for a strike. The count is 1-1 to PJ Safford. Coach Teeters giving the signals down there to PJ. Teeters was the Skyline Conference Coach of the Year, now first-year head coach of the Falcons. Here's the 1-1. We'll have to wait as another move over to first, and Takini gets back safely. Jacoby Takini started this inning with a fly out to right field. Colin walked, and now a 1-1 count to PJ. The delivery is taken for a fastball strike on the inside corner, about knee-high, and Safford down in the count, 1-2. Safford steps out, calls time, looks down to Teeters again, who issues a new set of signals, and steps back in. Safford close to the plate in the right-handed batter's box, and again a pick move over to first. Takini is back safely. Safford hugging the plate a little bit, gonna have to get the barrel around quickly in a 2-strike count against the lefty Lee. Here's the 1-2 as Lee kicks and fires. A curveball misses high, and the count is even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes to PJ Safford. on deck for the Falcons, I believe, well, it's due up is Ryan Glidden. I can't quite make out who is in the on-deck circle. My vision is blocked, but that's who's due up next, at least, for the Falcons. The 2-2 to P.J. Safford is popped up in the infield. Playable for the third baseman, Rice. He makes the catch for the second out in the inning. The Falcons down to their final out in the Alaska 5-2-9 Midseason Classic. And it is Ryan Glidden due up for the Falcons. Glidden 0 for 1 in the contest. He struck out in the fifth inning. Batting in the sixth hole, Ian Meyer started in this spot earlier in the game. He finished 0 for 1 as well. Lee comes set. Takes his time before delivering the first pitch to Glidden, who looks at a curveball that's dropped in there for a strike. The count is 0-1. Ryan Glidden batting .208 on the season for the Falcons. On base percentage of .441. That's the number you're worried about here for Glidden. Just trying to get on base and extend the inning. And he does a good job of that. But here he swings and misses at an inside slider. The count is 0-2. Falcons down to their final strike. Glidden steps in the box and awaits the 0-2 pitch. Lee comes set. Target given outside by Midseason. Glidden takes a close outside fastball. Good eye there from the Falcons right fielder. Coach Teeters, I think maybe more than anything, just trying to slow the game down, issuing signs after every pitch. Maybe trying to get Lee out of a rhythm as he gets back on the rubber, shakes off the first sign from Midseason, now is set with the 1-2. Again, Midseason sets up outside. Here's the pitch from Lee. It is swung on and missed, and the Madisonville Rangers are Alaska 5-2-9 tournament champions in 2025, and they win the rubber match against the Klamath Falls Falcons. A score of 1-0. We'll be back to recap it for you next on 104.3 and 960 Sports and MyBasin.com. So keep it right here.
Pacific Power works day in and day out to power our communities because we know our neighbors rely on us. We're trimming and clearing branches around poles and lines, protecting our system, and giving you real-time updates when storms roll in. You can count on us in all.
He struck out 6. The losing pitcher is Max Price. Despite not allowing an earned run, he pitched 2 1/3 innings, giving up 2 hits and striking out no batters. Couple of offensive notables today. We'll start with the victors. 1-for-3 day for Connor Midseason, a 1-for-2 day with an RBI for Jalen Groves, and a 1-for-3 day for Aiden Rice. Also, Layden Bozarth was 1-for-3 as well. For the Klamath Falls Falcons, 1 hit each for Max Price and Corbin Hamilton, but no runs come across. This is the first time the Falcons have been shut out this season, and they fall in the championship game to the Madisonville Rangers. Congratulations to the Madisonville Rangers, who played one heck of a baseball game and one heck of a tournament all around, having the lowest team ERA in the tournament. They came in allowing a 2 1/3 ERA and obviously pitching a shutout here in this game. They certainly deserve the championship as much as anyone else. The one unearned run for them came in the 6th inning on a, well, in my opinion, a highly contestable call at first, but it was enough to allow the Rangers to earn victory. They join a very exclusive list of teams who have won 2 tournaments in Alaska as a part of the Alaska Airlines Tour. They join Napoleon in 2024, Eugene in 2023, and Napoleon again in 2019. In recent history, you've done it. They are only the 10th team in history to first win in Kenai and then win here in Anchorage, grabbing 2 tournament wins on their tour of Alaska. The Klamath Falls Falcons place 2nd, and for what it's worth for them, they had one of the best offenses in the tournament. They had a plus 17 run differential coming into the day. That run differential finished at plus 18 overall. They scored 32 runs in the tournament, which was 7 more than Chugiak did in this same event. They had by far the best offense. We got a meeting of the best offense and the best pitching staff here in this championship game, and as it goes sometimes, and more often than not, good pitching beats good defense, or good pitching beats good offense, rather, and it does here in the 5-2-9 Midseason Classic Championship game. Madisonville wins 1-0. Thank you so much for joining us on mybasin.com and 104.3 and 960 Sports, whether it was just for today or whether it's been all tournament long or whether it's been all week long of our week-long stay in Alaska. The Falcons can still feel good about a second-place finish here and a tournament victory in Wasilla at the Todd Ryan Memorial Tournament. And thank you for joining us. Also want to thank one more time from the very bottom of my heart our tournament sponsors. That would be Heartfelt OBGYN in the Klamath Basin, and also the Eisler Group in Klamath Falls, as Connor Shively was just awarded an award. Not quite sure if it was the Big Stick Award, but a fantastic tournament. Jax Lee was just awarded the Best Pitcher Award here in Anchorage as well. Be sure to follow AlaskaLegionBaseball.com if you want the final awards that are given out to all recipients here in Anchorage, as well as any other details about Alaska Legion Baseball moving forward. I want to give a big shout out to Van Williams, who runs Alaska Legion Baseball, for setting me up for success, not only here in Anchorage, but also out in Wasilla, giving me a ton of information, and was just an all-around really big help. So big thanks to Van Williams and all the people who have been here in Anchorage, being such gracious hosts to not only myself, but all the boys as a part of the Klamath Falls Falcons. Also want to thank all the head coaches I've dealt with here at these tournaments. The Madisonville, Kentucky guys, who we've seen now 3 times, have been fantastic. Wishing them the best of luck moving forward the rest of the season. Of course, our coaching staff, led by Sean Teeters, is second to none. High class for our Klamath Falls Falcons. Final score, the Madisonville Rangers of Kentucky beat the Klamath Falls Falcons 1-0 in the Alaska 5-2-9 Midseason Classic Championship game. Thank you again for joining us tonight on mybasin.com and 104.3 and 960 Sports. The Falcons have a home game coming up on Tuesday against the Grants Pass Diggers. A home doubleheader is bringing us back to Kiger Stadium. Hope to see you out there, but until then, my name is Josh Eldridge. So long and good night from Mulcahy Stadium in Anchorage, Alaska.